For more, we're joined by E.J. Kimball. He is a security analyst with the Middle East Forum. E.J., good to have you with us. And E.J., as we just heard, U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo joining those coming out against John Kerry for his shadow diplomacy with Iran, the largest state sponsor of terrorism. What do you make of all of this?
Well, thanks for having me on, Michelle. It's good to be back. I think Secretary Pompeo is 100% correct. I think it's outrageous that former Secretary Kerry is meeting with the Iranians, that he's advising them to basically undermine the United States government, to undermine this administration, which is really an attack on our democracy. This is an attempt to undermine the legitimate president of the United States who won an election. And while former Secretary Kerry may be upset by the policies of the Trump administration, those are the policies of the United States government today. And unless he wants to register under FARA as an agent of a foreign government, he should not be speaking with the Iranians, advising them on what to do regarding the JCPOA.
Right, unseemly and unprecedented, as Pompeo says. Now, as you mentioned, Kerry is believed to be giving advice to Iran about how to maneuver around what the Trump administration is doing, telling them to not cut a deal and to just wait out the administration. Now, in an interview on Fox News, he didn't exactly deny this. Let's take a listen.
I think everybody in the world is sitting around talking about waiting out President Trump. I mean, you've got our allies, remarkably. The people that we've worked with the closest through the years are sitting there saying, oh, you know, what's next?
All right. So, EJ, you've got Kerry admitting that he's dispensing advice and to tell everyone on many matters to just wait out the Trump administration. Do you think, though, that his advice had any kind of real impact on the Iranians?
Well, look, the Iranians got a sweetheart deal from the previous administration. You know, everyone talks about the Iran deal, the JCPOA, you know, that the United States couldn't withdraw from it. The reality is the Iranians never signed it. It's not a treaty. It was an agreement. It was basically a one-sided agreement. I think the French may have signed it as well. It's not a legally binding document that prohibited the United States from withdrawing from it. The deal itself, all it did was provide a legal pathway for the Iranians to get a nuclear bomb. And, you know, the fact that John Kerry is defending this deal and thinking that if only President Trump were not in office anymore, that this deal would just go back in place is ludicrous. You know, the reality is today that the deal was a terrible deal. The U.S. is no longer a party to it. Iran was never going to abide by it anyways, and they weren't abiding by it to begin with. But the fact that he wants to advise that to just wait out the Trump administration, you know, this term with the belief that in 2020 he won't be president, you know, it's an undermining of our system of government. I think it's, quite frankly, just outrageous that he would be doing this and openly admitting it.
Yeah, and apparently he's not just giving this advice to the Iranians. He reportedly is also sending the same message to the Palestinian authorities to just wait it out there. So if the argument is that he's doing this to preserve the nuclear deal, doesn't really hold on the Palestinian front. EJ, thank you so much. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Michelle.